Republican Senator Ron Johnson is on the Budget Committee. He joins us. Nice to see you, sir.
Well, Greta.
Have you decided how you're going to vote come, I guess, Friday it's going to be now?
We'll have to see exactly what's presented to us. I mean, from my standpoint, if we're voting to proceed to a vote on a bill that actually defunds Obamacare, it's kind of hard not to vote to proceed to that final passage. I mean, that's eventually, if you're going to defund Obamacare, you're going to have to pass a bill. Because Obamacare is permanent law, it's part of that mandatory spending, and you have to pass a bill through the Senate and have the president sign it into law. So at some point in time, we're going to have to, I guess, take that risk that we've actually got the support of the American people to put enough pressure on Democrat senators. And they're the holdouts. I mean, every Republican senator will vote to defund or repeal Obamacare. The trick is, can we get Democrat senators to join us in that effort? And at some point in time, we're going to have to take that risk.
Well, and when you vote on this cloture vote, you don't know what the bill is ultimately going to be, right?
We're probably pretty sure, but I'm
not 100% sure. So it's a little bit semi-rolling the dice.
The bottom line is the majority leader will always have that power post-cloture to amend a bill with a germane amendment with just 51 votes. So the way you really defund Obamacare is you have to get that supermajority support of the American public. That's why I appreciate any effort that highlights the damage that Obamacare will do at our healthcare system, our economy, our federal budget, our personal freedoms. But you got to get that supermajority support of the American public to put pressure on Democrat senators to vote for repeal, or we better start winning some elections so we can take a majority in the Senate as well as the presidency.
All right, another problem is that we're going to run out of money about October 17th. The Secretary of Treasury has written the Speaker. So now what?
Well, it's just going to be another battle. Listen, Greta, anytime the President of the United States comes to Congress asking for the authority to increase the debt burden on our children and grandchildren, we ought to have a very serious discussion. We ought to have a robust debate about what, if we increase that debt burden on our kids, what are we going to get in return in terms of some fiscal discipline or some reforms to save the Social Security and Medicare programs so that's actually available for our kids who are going to be picking up the tab for us?
Well, from what I understand is that the White House says it's not going to be negotiating things like spending cuts.
How can they possibly say that?
Well, no,
I mean, literally, when you are asking Congress to increase the burden on your children and grandchildren, we're supposed to just give that authority carte blanche?
I assume that the White House says that, and assume that the White House is fixed on that, assume the White House is not going to change its mind. Then what happens? Tell me what's going to happen October 17th.
I can't tell you what's going to happen, but I can tell you what Republicans are going to try and do is extract some kind of additional fiscal discipline, hopefully some reforms to save Social Security and Medicare for future generations. Again, though our kids are going to be paying this debt burden, and they're not even going to have those programs available in their current forms because they are utterly unsustainable.
Well, I think for the American people, it's a pretty rotten position to be in. On the other hand,
I totally agree.
We don't want to be in a worse. We don't want to owe more money with no light at the end of the tunnel. And on the other hand, if we don't raise it and pay our bills, it's going to rock the markets. Right. It's going to have I don't know if catastrophic is where it's going to have an impact on our economy and our everything else having to do with money.
Greta, you know what I hope? I hope the American people are watching very carefully how utterly dysfunctional Washington is. I don't think it's going to improve anytime soon. So my suggestion to the American public is stop relying on the federal government to solve your problems. Stop sending politicians to Washington dedicated to growing the federal government. We need to start devolving this power back to the states, back to the people, because this place, trust me, I'm from the private sector. I'm a manufacturer. It's impossible to convey the dysfunction of the federal government and of Washington.
Well, they're going to see more.
I know it's not very good news. I'm not a very uplifting guy, but it's just true.
Senator, they're about to see more in one of our next segments. So thank you, sir, for joining us.
Have a great night.
Coming up, once the Senate votes on its version, it will send its CR back to the House side, and